Bleach, the 1,000-Year Blood War, Episode 2 is out right now, and I have to say, this was another really good episode. 2 banger episodes in a row for Bleach, and I am really excited to see what happens next with this arc. Now, I originally wanted to do Episode 1 of the 1,000-Year Blood War, but I had stuff going on that day, so I just ended up not doing it. So, for now I decided I'm going to review the episodes as they come out on Mondays, and for the first core at least, I will review the anime and see how that does here on the channel, and see just how well you guys like Bleach, and maybe I'll keep it going. But if you want me to keep doing Bleach content on the channel, and like me doing these reviews, please like and subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell for updates on future videos. It really does help, and it shows that you guys do want to see more content from me, as well as see me do Bleach content more consistently in the future, as I do want to make these videos weekly. But without further ado, let's hit that intro and get right into the review. Let's just start this right off the bat. I honestly do think that the main villain of this arc, who is the final villain of Bleach, from what I can see, is utterly kind of terrifying. I mean, Aizen was a pretty good villain. He's honestly the best villain in Bleach at this point, but I never felt like an ever-present sense of fear and foreboding from him. I was just like nervous whenever he was on screen of what could happen. It wasn't until towards the end of the Arrancar arc when I felt truly threatened by Aizen. I was more excited by Aizen than I was like, terrified of him. But Yhwach, the main villain of this arc and the King of the Quincy's, does seem kind of, well, very terrifying and is no nonsense. Now, the whole focus of the scenes with Yhwach and the two Arrancar that he basically has under him, giving reports to him. When one of them, Ludin, which was, I believe, one of the Arrancar that went to declare war against the Soul Society, against Yamamoto by invading into his office in the previous episode, was like this, had his arm dismembered and was basically trying to give a report. But apparently everything that he was trying to tell Yhwach and told him was basically, all in all, stuff for the future. Like, in 5 days from now, that's how long it's going to take for the Quincy's and the Soul Society to basically get ready for this upcoming war. And then he asks him, do you know the future? Why am I being heard of the distant future? Why are you telling me this? Are you a prophet? I want to hear the here and now. And I do like it that he's kind of like very impatient. He wants to hear current events. He does not want to hear any speculation about the future, due to the main fact that he's more focused on the here and now, on what he's going to do right now, instead of like what's going to happen in the further future. And then he just straight up kills the Arrancar that was giving on the initial report without fully getting the full report. And then the one that was fighting Ichigo in the previous episode ended up getting killed because he didn't do anything that was worthy of praise or punishment, so he just killed him because his purpose was done. And that shows just how terrifying he is, because he doesn't really show any real malice, and even says that he does not like conflict. So this guy seems very intimidating, and I want to know more about him. I want to see him in action, and I want to know what exactly all of his abilities are. But yeah, he's going to do this to the lower ranked soldiers. I wonder what he's going to do when he actually goes all out in a fight, because he just killed them, blew them up more or less, destroyed their head, seemingly without any effort at all. Ichigo comes back from his fight with Eburn, as the apprentice Soul Reapers end up getting a call from Soul Society, and it's actually a message notifying them about what happened within the similar time frame. We hear about the mysterious shadowy figures that entered Yamamoto's chambers, how the lieutenant of the Company 1 was killed. It was confirmed that he was killed. Also, someone else that wasn't part of these main 7 ended up just slaughtering over 100 members of Squad 1, and I believe that was basically the entirety of the squad at the one area that they were guarding. So that just shows how terrifying this enemy force really is, and this is shocking Ichigo's group completely about everything that's going on. And so we get a few shots of everyone thinking and mulling over about this information that we have received, and Ichigo, instead of just sulking in his room, decides, well, I better just go on patrol to clear my head. That's basically all I can do now. So on his patrol, he hears something, and Nell comes flying in, tackling him from the sky right into the ground, crashing into the ground. And a pretty funny scene. I love Nell. I'm glad that she's back in the story, and I want to see more from her. But she comes and tells Ichigo that something happened to Hueco Mundo. It's being attacked. It was invaded, and we're going to see more of that when we get to the Hueco Mundo portion of it. I do like how there are moments where Bleach can just break the very ominous tension with just some comedy. I think Bleach does comedy in certain aspects of the story pretty well to break the tension, especially in serious moments in certain regards. But yeah, there's just like a quick note I want to talk to you about. But anyway, Ichigo gets the gang together and then tells them what happened, and then Pesce gives us a flashback telling us what exactly happened in Hueco Mundo, where Yhwach, the Quincy King, is leading his whole army against Hueco Mundo. We don't see the whole fight, we see that Haribel, who is the current ruler of Hueco Mundo, since, you know, the first two strongest Arrancars, Spada, were killed in the Arrancar arc, she is completely defeated. She's crashed to the wall, and Nell, Pesce, and Don Chaka are looking up at her, basically facing down these enemies, potentially wanting to help. And they're not strong enough to do so right now. I don't know if Nell is able to access her Espada form. So Haribel tells them to run. And they do so, leaving Haribel behind, seeing Yhwach basically engulf her in a shadow thing. It said that they were driven into a corner, and Don Chaka ended up getting captured as they made their escape. So everyone's getting ready to basically agree to go help Nell in Hueco Mundo, but Uryu does say that he can't. He's a Quincy, and he can't fight for the Hollows. That's basically against what he is. He hates the Hollows, he eradicates the Hollows, he's a Quincy, that's kind of what he does. And Ichigo does kind of, you know, like, yeah, I know, but I felt like you'd be sulking if you kind of were left out of the loop and everything. Which is kind of funny, because in this episode, Orihime really does bring up how much Ichigo and Uryu really came together as friends. They're like best friends right now. Kisuke Urahara, the man, the myth, the legend, shows up, and he's like, I hear you want a way into Hueco Mundo. So he offers to take them, and they go to Hueco Mundo. And I like how Urahara is joking around a little bit as they're entering Hueco Mundo, but he's like, look, two Arrancars coming into the human world, I can't just ignore that. And, you know, it was Nell and Pesce, so he kind of knew that they were friends with Ichigo's. We enter Hueco Mundo, where all of the Arrancars were kind of, you know, imprisoned, turned into prisoners by these Quincies, and Ichigo and the gang want to go and help them. Ichigo goes off, and Nell comes along with them. And I like how Pesce gives us an idea of how strong these guys are, because we see these blue flames that are considered like condensed reishi in the form of flames, and they were actually able to burn the sand and stone in Hueco Mundo, which could never be burned before, which just shows how strong they are. So we then cut to the prison area where Sternritter J, Kelge Opie, I think I pronounced that name right, but Opie seems to be the warden or the Quincy commander in charge of Hueco Mundo, and he's basically doing this kind of test to see what's going on with the Arrancars. Basically saying, like, let's see what happens if you, like, beg for your life, lick my boot, etc. And the second one of the Arrancars does this, he ends up stabbing them with a spear and killing them on the spot. He does this one at a time with all of the Arrancars, until two of them actually manage to catch the spear and use it to break their chains and manage to get him at sword point. And these two characters are previous aides of Aizen. Honestly, very inconsequential characters. We just did not like them because they were assholes to Orihime when she was Aizen's prisoner. But they get folded immediately. One girl gets like hit with reishi arrows, I believe, and the other girl just gets basically slapped into the ground. Quick fight scene. Not too much really happened, but they tried to do something, right? But yeah, that's not really the real meat of this episode's action is. Just then, Haribel's elite forces, her direct underlings, the Tres Bestia, end up showing up and wreck shit. They annihilate almost every single one of these Quincy soldiers, going all out, fighting against them, and even, like, you know, bickering amongst themselves, which is honestly nice because that is what they were basically categorized as. And I like how Ichigo is pretty far off on the scene, but Nell senses their powers and basically gives us like a brief rundown of who they are, their personalities and stuff. Like, action in this scene is amazing. They fight off all of these Quincies, they butcher them, and then it's Opie who shows up and fights them off. And this is cut in with a report at the 13 Court Guard squad going over the information they know, as they then say that these characters are Quincies. The only people that can erase Hollows are the Quincy. As the episode ends with Ichigo facing off against Opie, who has off-screened the Tres Bestia and defeated them. I don't think they're dead, I think they're knocked down and unconscious, because his main goal in Hueco Mundo was to find Arrancars that had the guts to stand up to them and then bring them to be like foot soldiers for them. But that ends the episode with Ichigo and Opie willing to face off. Now, I want to say this towards the end in this section, but the funeral of Kevin Yamamoto's lieutenant was honestly kind of somber and a really good directed scene, because not only did you have all the captains and a lot of the lieutenants there as well, paying their respects at this funeral for his cremation, but there's like no music. With this one scene, of Yamamoto facing his lieutenant's burial site and imagining him kneeling right in front of him with just white. Just the two characters there right now. No music, just these two characters. And it is kind of a symbolic way of showing that this character is just gone and how important he was to Yamamoto. He was his lieutenant, he served under him for years, and you can even say that maybe Yamamoto thought of him as a friend. And now he's seeing his friend, his lieutenant, died in front of him that he could do nothing to save, is dead. And he gives the order to light the body on fire so he can be cremated, but we don't see his reactions at all. For all we know, he's crying, he's angry, we're not entirely sure, but we can assume that he's very angry and saddened for his loss. It's something that I just wanted to leave towards the end because it's a nice scene and it humanizes Yamamoto a lot because we don't see too much emotion out of the guy throughout Bleach. Most of the time it could be like slight annoyance or anger because he's like the badass old man in these types of stories. So it was nice to basically humanize Yamamoto and have him imply his emotions to a varying extent, and it was just a nice scene all in all. But that was basically everything in this week's episode of Bleach. Once again, everything was just shot like a freaking movie. The animation was on point, it was clean, the lighting for certain scenes was honestly really well done, the voice acting, as always, is phenomenal, and I have to say, the opening was honestly really, really good. It was a straight up banger. I love the music, I love the visuals, it just has everything going for it. I feel like it does fit for the final arc. I feel like it could have had like a more serious tone, but it also seems like it's more of a celebration that, yeah, Bleach is back and it's better than ever. So I really did like this episode of Bleach. It was another good episode. It's more set up for the real action that we're most likely going to be seeing, and this is where we're going to see the fruits of Studio Pierrot's labor and all of this team on this anime staff bringing their A game for these action scenes that we're going to end up seeing. So I cannot wait for next week because we're going to have Ichigo versus OP and a really good fight from what I can hope for. But yeah, if you want me to continue doing these Bleach videos and reviews every single week as the episodes come out, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell for updates on future videos. It really, really does help, and it shows you guys like to see these types of videos for me to do, and it'll encourage me to continue reviewing Bleach's anime as the episodes come out when the next few course inevitably do come out, and maybe I'll do a Bleach video here and there in between. But yeah, with all that said and done, I hope you guys enjoyed this review, and I hope you all have an awesome day.